Hi everyone. In this video, we will be analyzing the baseball summary report of a captured swing. Specifically, we'll be breaking down this player's pelvis rotation numbers and what it means for their swing. Pelvis rotation at heel strike refers to the amount of turn relative to the player's target line at their starting position when their heel strikes the ground and their pelvis begins rotation. A good range for hitters at this point in the swing is -10 to -30. -30 and greater can indicate too much counter rotation. And on the flip side, more than 0 degrees can suggest that the player is pulling off or leaking early. So this player lands at -35 degrees. It is slightly over-rotated and out of range. Being too internally rotated may affect time to contact as well as kinematic sequencing. Pelvis rotation at first move is the amount of turn relative to the player's target line when their hands begin to fire at 100 degrees per second. At this point in the swing, if a player is beyond -30, it can mean that the player is late in the turn with late pelvic rotation. Looser movers will tend to be closer to 0, whereas tighter movers may be more negative. This player is at -23 degrees, which is in range. They will likely be on time for the fastball with the ability to adjust to different pitches. Lastly, we have pelvis bend at contact, and this is the amount of turn relative to the target line when the bat makes contact with the ball. Here, we want to see the player between 60 and 90 degrees with their pelvis rotation. Low numbers can indicate the lower body is late in the turn, and at the same time, more than 90 degrees may mean that the pelvis is over-rotated, reducing the kinetic energy transfer into the upper body. And it's worth noting that stride angle towards the plate can reduce the amount of pelvic rotation that we'll have at contact. So taking a look at this swing, the player is at 54 degrees of rotation, which is under-rotated. This profile may struggle with velocity on the inner half, as they will be late. It can also limit energy output and connection at contact. So we've analyzed and looked at the numbers. So now what? If a player falls in range on each of these metrics, it's important to continue to train and maintain the good habits, while improving other areas like strength and mobility. You can do so by building biofeedback programs that encourage these good positions. If the player is not producing in-range pelvis rotation numbers, first, attempt to identify the root cause. Is it strength, mobility, injury-related, or even mechanical? Then, you can build pelvis rotation biofeedback programs at each point in the swing, limiting over and under rotation, encouraging good connection at contact, and utilize the metrics that we talked about today. From there, continue to introduce variables as the player progresses and feels more comfortable. The mix of training progressions and biofeedback will help create an efficient and valuable training program. Thanks for watching, and look out for our video next week as we continue our analysis and break down the numbers.